Well, I'm just honored to be joined by David Croft here on our Backmarkers F1 show from Sky Sports. David, thanks so much for joining us here.
Absolute pleasure.
You're hosting today's event for Racing Point. Just first impressions of the new team and the new car, the new livery. What are your thoughts?
Well, my first impressions are, isn't it great that we're stood here today talking about the team based at Silverstone having a future in Formula One and a prosperous future as well. They are a wonderful bunch of racers with racing very much at their heart, who their problems, their struggles financially have been well documented over the years. But it's almost like spring has sprung a little bit for Racing Point. Whatever people think of the name, they'll all have their own versions, their own views. I don't mind Racing Point at all. I'm so glad they've kept the pink in, because for a commentator, for starters, it really helps. And for fans watching, it really helps as well, because you're not going to mistake a Racing Point car for anything else whatsoever. So that eases my worries about the first turn in Melbourne. But it's all about a team that has, let's say, punched above its weight, now adding to that weight, so it's not punching above it, it's actually doing what it knows it can. As Andrew Green and Otmar Safnauer said today, we can design developments and new parts. We've got the finances to bring those parts to the car. And that's absolutely brilliant, because you want the team based at Silverstone to stay around. We love Jordan. You know, people love Spiker and Midland and Force India as well, and now they're Racing Point, and they have a history and a heritage within the sport that will continue to grow. And that's just fantastic.
From your first impressions, do you see any big differences financially from, let's say, the first half of last season to the end of the last season and now the beginning of this 2019 season?
Well, the thing is, they've got the finances in place at the right time. So the developments that are being designed now that are going to go on the car from, say, Melbourne and then Barcelona, forget testing for a while, and then throughout the season, those developments can be brought to the car. It didn't happen last year. So financially, yeah, that money is now available. And that's so important in a season that's going to be a massive development war. We've had a big regulation change from 2018 to 2019. So back at the factories, and every single factory, the designers are busy working to exploit those new regulations and find extra performance. It's a thing that's it's a twofold, isn't it? Designers love the challenge of a new regulation, but know that it's going to be that much more work as well coming their way, but they rise to the challenge. So yeah, I do sense a massive change within the team, because they finally got the backing to go with the brains that are already there.
For us Canadians coming in and having this first one ever in North America, first car launch, it's so important for us. We feel not enough coverage over here, not enough races over here. And the sport, other than in Montreal and Canada, it hasn't really flourished yet. Do you feel with this is now the starting point of F1 really taking off in not only in Canada but in North America as well?
I think there is an awareness from within the sport that North America is not only a very important market, because let's face it, there are sponsors that can get involved with Formula One, but there is a very loyal, solid and significant fan base as well. And the fact that we've had fans at the launch today is absolutely brilliant, because you guys are getting the chance to get up close and personal with your heroes, and that's what the sport should be doing and is doing as well. Liberty, I think, realise that North American market is there and is saying, come and get us. They've just got to find the right venues. Miami obviously has been talked about, and discussions are still ongoing there. Montreal is very much set as a Formula One city in that time in the calendar in June where people flock to come and see the Grand Prix. But there is room for expansion. Las Vegas is talking about a race, obviously, and I know discussions are still going on there. COTA has established itself as a brilliant track and an area where lots of people can go to see the race. Mexico City, part of the North American continent, packs out the stands, and it's brilliant to be going back to Mexico. It's fantastic in South America that we still go to Brazil, but wouldn't it be great to go to Argentina? But with that comes a realization that we can talk as much as we want about new races. It's finding time on the calendar to get those races in. So does the sport go to 25 races a year? It's possible, but for the teams, that's a significant extra investment in personnel, because at the moment things are being stretched and you probably do need more personnel to cope with many more races. Personally, I'd love to see more races on the North American continent. We come over here from Sky Sports and everywhere we go in North America and in Canada and in Mexico and in the States, we're embraced by Formula One fans. Now, yeah, our coverage goes out in Canada, it goes out in the US as well, and that's absolutely brilliant. But there is a passion for this sport, and it's brilliant to be amongst like-minded people whenever we come over here. So long may that continue.
Well, we really hope to catch up with you in Montreal. We're going to be down there, and it would be a pleasure for us to catch up with you midway.
Where do we go to hang out in Montreal? Where do you hang out on a Saturday night in Montreal?
Well, I can tell you where to go in Ottawa. That's where we're from.
We're not-
But I mean,
we're
come to the
not
nation's
going to a
capital, I'll
race.
tell you where you
You're
go.
not going to a race in Ottawa, though. You've got to do your research.
I know.
You want to catch up. You've got to find a good place to catch up in.
See, the only place I know we have to go to Abu Dhabi, the Amber Lounge. I heard that's a
Yeah,
party.
that is, but we couldn't have this conversation at Amber Lounge. I wouldn't be able to hear you.
That's true. That's very true. We'll catch up in Montreal, I hope, and I'll make sure we'll get dinner plans.
You find the venue, I'll come and see you.
Sounds perfect to me.
Done.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.